I think one of the most important, most significant things I have learned in my entire life, over the entire course of my life, comes down to a simple concept. And this concept deals with what we call the mind. I wish I had learned about this much earlier. As a matter of fact, I believe, based on what I've seen and I've been able to create with the knowledge I've acquired, knowing about my mind, I believe this should be taught at a very young age. There are four types of education that I think are essential. We generally get what we call academic, which is how to read, write, and spell. We get professional, which is where you specialize in a particular profession. Unfortunately, that's where most people's education stops. This is formal. We get that through the formal way, and I believe that's incomplete. Now, formal education will get you a living, it will get you a job, it will provide you with security, but it will never make you wealthy. As a matter of fact, it will rarely ever make you happy, prosperous, or generate a lot of good fortune in your life. You must become self-educated. And to become self-educated, you must understand the other two component parts of the entire learning equation, and the other parts of what I call personal development. You see, the top two will measure what we call your IQ. Personal development will measure what we call your EI, which is your emotional intelligence. But in addition to that, you need what we call financial education, which measures your FI, which is your financial intelligence, your financial IQ. Now, by combining all these methods, what you've done is you've empowered yourself on how to create success. But all of that information must be transformed and used in the appropriate way in your mind. And so what I want to talk to you about very quickly is where your mind and how you can use your mind in a way to achieve your dreams and goals. Now, most of you watching have an understanding of what we call your senses. You may not think about it regularly, but you kind of get it. Sight, sound, smell, touch, taste. You kind of get it. We all have five senses which we use. Sight, sound, smell, touch, taste. You see, you hear, you can taste, you can reach and touch. And you're familiar with all of these senses. And these, unfortunately, we develop because we're taught how to use this. We're not taught about what we call the higher faculties of the mind, or the higher mind. And I think this is more important than even the senses. These deal with imagination. It deals with will. It deals with perception, reason, intuition. If you want to be successful, I think you have to be much more knowledgeable about your higher faculties, because they can help you leapfrog your way to success. And you might be thinking, I don't understand, what does that have to do with success? Well, it has everything to do with success, you see. The Wright brothers were able to create flying objects because they were able to disregard what they learned from academic and professional, which deals with logic. And they were able to defy logic by using their imagination, by using their perception. You see, most people at the time said, no one can fly, because they only saw the world from one viewpoint. A lot of people back in the day used to say the world was flat. Someone else said, I don't think it is. They had a different perception. Your perception is really how you see things, how you perceive things. If you want to be successful, you've got to see things beyond your sight. Because when you use your sight to see, that's you using your eye. When you use your imagination to see, you're using your mind. And success comes from using the mind to see before sight. You must first create in your mind before you can take that thought or idea and bring it into reality, and then you can see through your eyes. So the first thing I want to say this, if you really want to create changes in your life, you've got to understand the mind and how it works. Imagination is so powerful that I think everyone should be taught how to imagine. Now, as a young child, that ability comes natural. And when you start doing that as a young child, you're discouraged in most families. Not all families, but most families. Take a look around the world today. Every great accomplishment has come from people that were called dreamers. People were called fantasizers. You see, if you want to make a change in the universe, if you want to make a dent, positive dent, you've got to dream. You've got to dream. You've got to imagine. Your will is what we call willpower. Some people say, well, I don't have motivation, or I don't have inspiration, or I'm not driven, or I don't know where to start. Part of the reason is because they don't understand the power of the will. The power of the will gives you enough power to achieve anything that is possible. Anything that you can set your mind towards, you can achieve if you have imagination and if you have will. Perception, we've talked about briefly, deals with how you see things. You know, every coin has three sides. Those with great perception understand that. Those with poor perception are those who simply see life as one side because they stand here and they see the heads, or someone else who stands here and they see the tail and they say, well, this is what I see. I like the story of two men standing in a prison cell and they look out through the window. The first man looks out and all he can see are the iron bars in the window. The second man looks out and what he can see is a beautiful sunset. Perception. What can you see? By using your perception, what you do is you create opportunities for you to see things that may not have appeared possible. You might see things such as, well, I don't have to do this on my own. I'll give you a good example. It's perception that makes you recognize that it's better for you to collaborate than compete. That's perception, where you say, I don't have to do this on my own. I can join together with someone else and create success. That comes from perception. How do you perceive things? Reason is important because it helps you start to deduct. And we call that inductive and deductive reasoning, where you can start to analyze and look into things and saying, what are the possibilities? Could this be true? Could this be false? What if? Could I try something different? It helps you. And with reason, you're really using a lot of your five senses to reason. But you must not allow the senses to drive your reason. You must allow the higher faculties to drive the senses. And then finally is intuition. Intuition is simply the feeling you have. So you might hear people say, well, I don't feel good. Or you might see people make business decisions and they say, well, something doesn't feel right. But you develop your intuition. Ladies are normally referred to as having great intuition. A woman walks into an environment and says, I think we should leave. Now, how does she know that? Simple. There are three parts of our personality. One is spirit. The other is emotion. I call that mind. Some people call it intellect. Some people call it soul. And then there's the physical. Most people who have developed and who have a good understanding and awareness of their spiritual side are those who can walk into an environment and say, the energy around here doesn't feel good, or the energy around here feels very nice. I think we should stay here. Now, if you've ever tried this, you may have walked into a restaurant and as soon as you walk in, you just feel that the energy in the restaurant is great. You just know that the people who own or serve in the restaurant and the people around there are good people. They have a good energy. Their spirit is good. And then you sit down, then you have a great meal. On the other hand, you might go to a restaurant, the food is good, but just the energy is not really that great. Some people say, well, it didn't have rapport. It didn't have that thing about it. That's intuition. So to achieve success, I want to invite you to spend some time and study the mind. Now let me conclude by just sharing something that I learned. And this is by no means, it's not mine. You know, I've learned this from some of the greatest people around who have lived, some of who are still alive. But one of the things I learned was that simply that your mind comes in two parts. There is what we call the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Now, most of you kind of understand that. You get it. Now I'm going to show you how this helps you achieve success. Your conscious mind is where you have your five senses. It's like a gateway. It's like a gate. Senses here: sight, sound, touch, taste, smell. It's like a flowing channel into your mind. So from what you see, you can control how you feel. From what you hear, you can control how you feel. From the influence around you, you can control how you feel. What you have in your mind as thoughts will dictate how you feel. How you feel dictates what you do or how you act. The actions you take create your habits. Your habit decides your character, your attitude, your behavior, and ultimately your results. In your conscious mind, we call that your thinking mind, because that's where you process information. It's your rational mind. And in this part of your mind, you can choose. It allows you to choose. Your subconscious mind, on the other hand, is what we call your emotional mind. And in your subconscious mind, you cannot choose. It simply accepts anything you give it. And it's in this part of the mind that things are created. And it's in this part of the mind that the law of attraction begins. So in the conscious mind, you deal with what you want. In your subconscious mind, you deal with your desires. Your desires are converted, your wants are converted to desires through emotions, by using your senses, but also by using your higher faculties. Now, your higher faculties are lodged in your subconscious mind: imagination, will, reason, perception, intuition. So, for example, making it practical, because this is all dealing with a lot of words. Let's say your want is you want a new car. Okay, you say, I want a new car. Okay, so want, how do I make it a desire? Now, this is key now. How do we use your mind to create success? This is key. First thing you do is you decide what you want. Okay, I want a car. You got to be specific. What type? What color? What model? How big? What the wheels would be like? What's the interior? Get specific with detail. Once you've done that, by deciding that and starting to get specific, you're using your senses. You're now saying, what does it look like? Sight. What would it feel like in terms of the interior? That's touch. What would it smell like? That, the smell using your ears, your nose rather. You're getting emotionally involved. Now, you must then take that idea, use your imagination, and start to see yourself already achieving or driving that car. You're now combining your higher faculties with your senses. As soon as you take that process and start repeating it, this want will start to move into what we call a desire. And that will move from your conscious mind to your subconscious mind. Now, as soon as this comes into your subconscious mind, what happens is you set up what we call a vibration. This vibration is what we call feelings. Now, this is very important. So someone might say to you, how do you feel? Someone says, I don't feel too good. That is simply a way of saying this is the vibration that I think I'm in. I don't feel too good is me expressing that I understand that I'm in a vibration or a frequency that is negative. So every time you say, I don't feel good or I don't feel right, it's an indication that the vibration you're on is not positive and you can change it. By setting up the vibration, automatically this sets up the law of attraction. But this law of attraction is only strong, because it's the pull, it's only strong if you keep repeating and repeating and repeating this idea every day, every day. See yourself achieving it, see yourself living it, see yourself doing what you want to do, see yourself driving that car, washing that car, making calls in that car. The more you do this, the more the attraction becomes powerful. Now, success is only made complete through action. So you started by creating, now you want to receive. By thought, what you want is created. By expectation, what you want is sent to you in a way of it being emotionalized and setting up the vibration. But by action, what you want is received. You receive what you want through action. So the success equation and using the mind is Most people start by trying to focus on what to do. And this is where I conclude. Most people are focusing on what to do. Most people think their success is all about action. No, you must realize that success begins as an equation. There's an equation for success. There's an equation. One of them starts with you creating in your mind what you want. So you must create. Then once you've created, you emotionalize the experience. Then once emotionalized, you take action. This is done in the mind. This is done in the physical. That is how you create success. Most people have ignored the first part, and so whatever action they take, they're finding that what they're achieving is far less than they could actually achieve, and also it leads to less fulfillment. If you want to be fulfilled, create it first. Feel it first. Emotionally get involved with it first. And then when you take action, what you'll find is that what you get as results is always consistent with what you originally wanted. And it's more of a permanent. It comes permanently as opposed to temporary. I hope that's been useful.